What was the real impact of the Cold War on 80s society? Imagine a world where every news report, movie, and school lesson was shaped by a looming shadow. That shadow was the Cold War, a fierce rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union. It was a time when the threat of nuclear war was part of everyday life. The political scene was intense. President Ronald Reagan called the Soviet Union an evil empire, and the United States increased military spending to defend democracy. The arms race pushed both superpowers to develop more powerful weapons, including intercontinental ballistic missiles and nuclear submarines. This competition created a feeling that the world was on the edge of disaster. In the 1980s, the political landscape was marked by a push for peace and change. Mikhail Gorbachev became the leader of the Soviet Union and introduced reforms called perestroika and glasnost. These aimed to rebuild the Soviet economy and open up society. These moves helped ease tensions with the United States. The signing of the Intermediate-Range Nuclear Forces Treaty in 1987 was a major step toward reducing nuclear arsenals. By the end of the decade, many Eastern European countries began to break free from Soviet control, culminating in the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. This event symbolized the end of the Cold War and the division of Europe. The Cold War also left a mark on culture. Movies, TV shows, and music often reflected fears of nuclear war and espionage. Films like The Terminator and Rambo showed a mix of action and paranoia. The idea of spies and secret agents became a popular theme, echoing the real-life intelligence battles between the superpowers. Schools practiced duck and cover drills, preparing students for possible nuclear attacks. The threat of war influenced fashion, music, and even video games, which often featured themes of conflict and survival. Economically, the Cold War boosted defense industries. The United States invested heavily in military technology, creating jobs and fueling innovation. This spending helped shape the economy of the 1980s, making defense a major industry. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union's focus on military buildup strained its economy, leading to shortages and economic difficulties. These issues contributed to the eventual collapse of the Soviet system. As the decade closed, the Cold War's influence was still felt. It created a sense of unity among Americans who saw themselves as defenders of freedom. It also fostered a sense of fear and suspicion, but ultimately, it pushed leaders toward diplomacy and peace. The events of the 1980s showed how political tensions can shape society in many ways, from the way people live and work to how they see their world. The Cold War was more than just a political rivalry. It was a defining force that left a lasting imprint on the culture, economy, and global relations of the time.